and welcome to healthyhouseplants.com, where we teach you all about gardening in the great indoors. If you'd like to support our show, please use our Amazon affiliate link below. Today I am continuing on with my pruning series, and today we are going to prune a very straggly Coleus. So a lot of times people think that once the Coleus gets real straggly like this and long and leggy and things, that it's pretty much done. But actually you can keep a Coleus growing for many years. So this Coleus here, and which was grown by seed, as were these guys over here as well, this Coleus I've had for about 3 years. So I just routinely cut it back and then it grows again. And I really like this one because of the color on it. It's grown from seed from I grow all my Coleus from seed from this botanical interest. Yeah, botanical interest, yes, seed. And it's I'll put a link below to their website because I don't think it's on Amazon right now. Anyway, so you can have your Coleus looking really nice like this one. I do tend to like a little rangy look in my plants, so I don't cut them way back, but I do cut them so they don't, this is not that attractive now. And I let it grow like this so that I could do a video to show you about cutting it back, and also the fact that you can cut them back and they can look really nice for you when you do that. So we're going to start right now with doing that, and we're going to go ahead and get a little closer view here so you can see what I'm doing. Okay, so I am going to cut off the top first, and actually now that I went too close, I think, so I want to do that first and then we'll get closer. So you can cut the top off. You can cut Coleus. It depends on the plants. There's a lot of plants though, especially the ones with succulent stems, the ones that tend to grow fairly quickly, and I'll put a list below of those sorts of plants. You can cut them back quite a bit and they will come back for you. So, and remember, sometimes it takes some time. Some plants are going to take longer than others to come back, but they will come back. So as you can see, the top of this, it's not that appealing. It has a long stem here. And so I'm going to cut this one back, actually, where I'm going to cut it back to, I'm going to start by just cutting off the top, and then I'm going to zoom in so you can see. Also, the Coleus will go to seed and they will spread the seed, and you can get more Coleus off of that too. Okay, so now you can see it's a lot shorter. We've got something shorter to work with here. All right, so now I'm going to zoom in a little bit here so that you can go ahead and get a better look at what I'm going to do close up. So when you're pruning a plant back like this, you want to really take a good look at it, and you want to think of future form. So you want to prune where, first of all, wherever you prune, remember that the stem node where you prune from, and the stem node is where a new stem is going to come out. So whichever way that leaf is pointing is where your new growth is going to occur. So if that leaf was pointing on the inside of the plant, say it was in here, I'm trying to show that here. So say this leaf was on the interior here, pointing in the interior, then that, when you prune there, you initiate growth at that point, and that growth is going to go inside the plant. So if you're trying to create a lot of growth in the interior of the plant, that's great, but a lot of times you want to create more of a bowl shape or a vase shape with the plant, so you wouldn't want to cut back to a stem node, to a leaf node where it's on the interior. And as I've explained in other pruning videos, and explained here too as well, these are known as leaf nodes, where the leaves are attached to the stem. There are auxins in there which create more more stem growth if you were to cut that off. So when you do prune back, you want to prune just above a node so that growth will appear from that node. You would not cut, for instance, right here up below the node, because then you would just have an empty stem. Although this one probably would start to grow, but you're better off cutting right above that to get that to grow. So those are some things to keep in mind. Now, when the leaves have fallen off of the stem, where the bump is in the stem, that is where the leaf node is. So for instance, right here, even get closer. Yeah. So right here, right there, that bump. And on this one, right here, you see it. If I can get this other piece. Oh, and this other piece has one right there, right there, right there. So they grow all the way up the side of the plant. So you always want to, as mentioned, you want to prune above one of those points when you're pruning to stimulate new growth. Now, that being said, this here, right here, I did cut above a node, so I could get growth from here. However, it's still a little bit too tall and rangy, so I am going to cut back even further. This leaf here is very floppy for some reason. I don't think it's from not watering. It's just growing that way, so it's not all that attractive. So I just want to show you, you can cut back more. So I am going to cut back to, well, you have to think it through though before you do cut back, because one of the things you want to do, you need to leave some foliage on the plant, because the foliage photosynthesizes for the plants, and it creates, that will create energy for the plant to then grow more stems and more leaves. So if you cut off everything, you just have blank stems, you risk the plant not growing back again. So when you do that, so you need to think that through when you're doing your pruning as to what you want to do. Now the top part that I had pruned off, that was just too rangy. I'm trying to get it down more, but it's not so bushy. I mean, a little bushy like this one's fine, but we want to get it a little more down, more stout, shorter, so that when it grows up, it fills in nicely and it's not still rangy. So this one right here can be kept there. It is actually appearing like, actually this one, however, show you here, may be a separate, I think it might be a separate plant that probably grew from some seed that fell down. So as I mentioned, that can happen, although it is the same variety with that white creamy center that you see here. So, which makes sense if it came off of this one. So this one is attached to the plant, so we can keep that one on. The general rule of thumb is not to prune back more than 2/3 of a plant more than 1/3 of a plant in one cutting. There are some plants like Coleus where you can get a little more, go a little more drastic. Like I mentioned, some of the more succulent ones, some of the ones that grow back more quickly. So, those are in the list below. However, just to be on the safe side, you still want to be careful. So here we already have taken off this much, right? And by the way, this can easily be rooted for another plant in water and or in soil with rooting hormone. I have videos on that. Anything I mention here, I will link below, the video wise. Okay, and product wise. Okay, so still looking at this, not really happy with this droopy thing. So question being, will this be enough to sustain the new growth on the plant? I have an idea. What I'm going to do here, remember we do have this little leaf here, so I am going to prune off to that point right above it. You want to go about 1/16 of an inch to 1/8 of an inch above. So that is now gone. So, and I'm going to go ahead and move in again here so you can see that more closely what I did there. So you'll see here, that is now here, and I had taken off the top. That was the leaf that came off. Okay, now this is empty stem. It does have the leaf nodes on it, but given that this already has a leaf and we're trying to get this plant to be less rangy, I'm going to cut off right above this node here and this leaf that's coming out of the node, and there's another node where this leaf is coming out. So I'm going to cut be careful to cut just above that without cutting off that either. And fairly close, I'm going to cut a tad bit more. The closer you can get, the better in terms of stimulating this node, but you don't want to cut into the node, it will damage it. So we're going to get growth. This leaf is going to get bigger, and this node is probably going to also, right here where I cut, is also going to, and you want them not to have too jagged of a cut, so sharp pruning shears are important. This one probably could use a little trimming. I'll trim it up a little bit more afterwards. But anyway, this right here is another one. So we're going to get some growth, like a mound of growth coming from there. We're going to leave this little guy down there. And then this one, question, well, okay, so since this is likely its own plant, I can't cut this one off right now. This, even though it's a little rangy, because I would only be leaving this little leaf to sustain all of the photosynthesizing so the plant will grow. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to keep it like it is now, and then when it fills in some, and even now it looks nice, and you can visualize. You have to, when you're pruning, you really have to visualize what the plant is going to look like once it grows some more, to give you an idea of did I shape it like I would like to. Now, of course, this plant was pretty rangy as mentioned, so when a plant is really rangy, sometimes it's going to take more than one pruning job for you to have a really nice form, right? So this is going to grow a bunch here, so you can visualize that coming up, and actually it might kind of look kind of architecturally interesting to have a big growth here. This continues to grow, and then this continues to grow up too, and we have a 3-leg sort of a thing going on. So I will continue to water it correctly. I do have a Coleus care video. Continue to water it correctly, give it enough sunlight, etc., feeding as well, until it fills in. I will check back in at a later time when it fills in too. And at that point, I can make decisions on the new growth as to what I would like to prune it to continue to shape it. So these are things that you can do to shape your other plants as mentioned, keeping in mind if you're not sure about the plant and how much you can cut it back, then always go with the 1/3 max cutback rule, so that you don't shock the plant and the plant can continue to photosynthesize, okay? So here we are with this pretty guy here, and this is the same variety. So you can see when it's not so rangy, the leaves are even bigger and more full and more beautiful. So that's that one. And then we did have on the top there, this is a cool thing about this seed mix too. This was actually growing on the same plant, and you can see it has the red markings too. So you can get that combo. That was on the one that was here. So you can get that combo. So most likely this one here is going to have some red in it. So I'm going to have a red and white, and this one does have the cream white center too, combination on this plant, which I absolutely love that as well. So there you go for pruning, another pruning video, pruning scraggly, Coleus, and other scraggly plants that can, like this, and when I mean fleshy stemmed, something where you could, especially when it's younger, you could pinch it with your finger, as opposed to something hard bark-like, like a Ficus benjamina or something, or the main stem on a fiddle leaf fig, etc. That's more of a hard stem. This is more of a succulent stem. So, and I will be continuing to add to my pruning videos, because I get a lot of questions on pruning videos, and on pruning and on the pruning videos, but about pruning, and because it is a very important task for your indoor garden to keep it looking really pretty and nice and healthy for you. You will also see something new at the bottom there, a thanks icon. So that is super thanks. It's another way that you can contribute to my channel. It really helps, any contributions help because I try to answer, for the most part, all of the questions I get on my videos, which is a lot of questions and it takes a lot of time. And then of course the videos do too, but those questions are an added thing that I really like to be able to help you have the best experience yet. So that can go towards funding those Q&As as well. Okay, so this is it for now on this pretty Coleus. As mentioned, we'll check in, it's going to take probably, they're fairly fast growing, but it probably will take at least a month, if not longer, to fill in substantially enough so I can show you the effects of this pruning. But in the meantime, go ahead and prune your plants and let me know if you have any questions in the comment section below. I'm happy to answer them. Thank you for stopping by today. Please leave any comments about any indoor gardening tutorials you'd like to see. Remember to like, comment, subscribe, and share this video. And please check the bell if you'd like to be notified when new videos are released.